McCann here for Seconds, out with Molly McCann, chasing a dream. Meatball, is it still Meatball? Nicknames are rampant in boxing. Are you sticking with that one?
I'm going to have to. I think Eddie announced me as Meatball Molly McCann. I think the brand is known globally as Meatball. And I'm saying even my mum calls me it, so it's been with me since I was 16. More of my life I've been Meatball than I haven't.
I imagine when the opportunity presented itself, you took a long look at it, but was it a quick decision that you made to come into boxing and after the transition into MMA? How ready were you to continue in combat sports in any form?
I think we knew in January that I knew that was going to be my last fight. My body had had enough of the impact on the floor and the shin to shin kicks are like, oh, they're not that nice, lads. Do you know what I mean? And I knew there was interest from a couple of different promoters, but I knew I was going to have a conversation with Eddie, and I'd say 5 days or 6 days after I retired from the sport of MMA, I was in this gym training. So since like March 28th, sorry, I've been getting ready to take over. And there was I need some time off for this, that and other. I was ready to do what I feel like I've always been waiting to do. I think if you speak to anyone in the boxing world, they'll always tell you, oh, she's been around the shows for years. She's always supporting the amateur shows, the professional shows, just backing other scousers, really. And now it's just my time.
Is the door completely closed on MMA, UFC?
Yeah, there'll be no way ever I'll be doing anything else other than once this is done, that's like me professional combat sport finished.
I was thinking before, obviously waiting outside, as to some of the fighters who've crossed over on both sides and there have been varying degrees of success. I want to go for the bluntness and most direct option. Have you thought about if you kind of fall flat in your face and what that might mean for yourself in boxing? Have you entertained that in your mind?
I haven't, to be honest, mate, because I know my pedigree. I think if you look at me in any fights I've had in MMA, or if you look at any of my boxing fights, I've never been outmanoeuvred with just hands. It was the size difference with a kick or with a takedown that has always been an issue. My team would not let me do this if I wasn't going to be okay. No coach would take a fighter on who's a decent coach or worth the weight in salt if they didn't think the fighter was going to perform or do well. Yeah, that's the first time I've ever been asked a question like that.
Yeah, it's just because you've had Ngannou had varying success in boxing. He came in, fought Tyson Fury.
He's fought Anthony Josh. He's fought Tyson for his first, and then Anthony. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not fighting Ellie Scotney tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're doing this correctly. I'll be having 6 fights that'll get me ready to fight them 10 rounds and get me ready for that moment. I'm not fighting for money, and they was, so there's your big difference.
Yes, it's like the other crossover was like CM Punk, and in terms of I don't equate you talent wise to CM Punk, but in terms of the crossovers and the profile that gets you an opportunity, yeah, I wonder what pace you would like to go at with your career in boxing.
Yeah, no, that's granted that. I will move as fast as my performances allow me. I think it'll be quite fast. Like in 3 months, where I started and where I've got to is just mad. I'm lucky enough that I'm out in Brooklyn, I can train, out in Vegas, I can train. So when it's cold here in January and Feb, I'll go and do some little bits of training out there, get more sparring, be in environments where I'm not safe, I'm not the big fish, I'm not protected. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, I'm protected to the point where I'm not going to be hurt in the spars, but the only way for me to be good and be great and to have a good go at this is like there's no silver spoon treatments. Just because I've got a name in a different sport, it actually means fuck all in boxing. I'm just lucky enough that it's going to get me on good fight cards. Do you know what I mean? So it's my performance that'll do the rest for me.
MMA, the striking is described as dirty boxing. Is it as dirty? Have you cleaned up your technique, or have you found it more translatable than maybe it's deemed to be?
I think because I started with amateur boxing, my punching techniques was always clean. I didn't really clinch much. I didn't like hold and strike. I'd always just unload, and everything you throw in MMA has kind of got some meat on it, whereas in boxing, that's the only thing that's like, there's different tempo of shots, there's different weight in the shots, and you can throw a jab in 25 different ways, do you know what I mean? And just different ranges, just like I was saying before, like a kicking range, a striking range and a grappling range is like, we'd say like green, amber, red. And then when you bring that to boxing, it's like, it's even closer, because like I'm only got to be out of the way of your arm, whereas before I'm used to being out of the way of your kick, which is double the length distance. So it's just been finding the mid-range, figuring that out and being comfortable there, and knowing I can stay here and I haven't got to worry about catching an elbow or stuffing a takedown from this position. I can be so offensive here, which is positive.
Have you put a personal goal or timeline out there as to when you want to achieve the goal that you want out of boxing?
I think Eddie's kind of done that for me and said like 7 or 8 fights I'll be a world champion in. God willing that happens. So look, I've said today, you could get injured, I could have 5 fights in 5 months and then need like a little bit of a break off. I could fight 3 times in a year. You just don't know what's going to happen, but as long as I'm performing, we'll get there. The body's just got to get there. That's it.
You take on a debate going on in boxing. Who is for you the GWOAT?
I know Clarissa's self-proclaimed, and the reason she's smart in what she's done, because she said, well, if I hadn't said it, no one would say it. I was like, no, I truly get that, but I think it's Katie. I know Clarissa's done so much and she might have made more money. I'm unsure, but in terms of like class, grace, having to deal with personal, I know Clarissa's had personal tragedies and adversities growing up, but she hasn't really had to in boxing whilst being a boxer. And obviously, if you've seen the Katie Taylor documentary, you know what's gone on there. And I just think without Katie, Clarissa wouldn't be. So it's got to be Katie.
How high weight do you think you can get to?
How high? I wouldn't go higher than, what's 125? What's Guy's weight? Super. What? 125 is the heaviest I fought at in MMA when I was an absolute meatball. I was fighting at 115 for my last 4 fights. 118 is perfect for, or 122 to 118, that's as high as it's getting. That 122 is like as high as I'd like to go.
One second, I just need to put these aside and batteries as well too. Claressa had actually called out Chris Cyborg for a fight. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that would be a competitive matchup?
I don't think it's competitive. Claressa, let me just get this water. Thank you so much, Coach. I want some of that. It's not a competitive matchup, I don't believe. Chris Cyborg is the Claressa of the MMA world. She has done everything and won every single belt, but she's got a lot of miles on the clock. She's training in like the maddest, oldest ways. If you look at shootbox in Brazil and how they used to train, like just having scraps with men, getting knocked out, knocking men out. It's just years and years ago. Do you know what I mean? Like she shouldn't be getting anyone letting that happen. Shouldn't be letting that happen. And I love Chris, and she's like a hero of the MMA community, but that it's just mad. If she's going to fight anyone, she should fight LAILA. She knocked everyone out. I think she had 23 wins and 21 knockouts and no losses. Do you know what I mean? Like she's the GWOAT of the bigger girls.
Paddy versus Topuria. I imagine you'd back him to get the win, but do you think he gets the opportunity?
No, I don't think it comes next. I think he's the one after. It makes sense, and Ilya wants that fight. We all want that fight. We want Paddy to punch his head in. But I think, I'm sure it was promised to Justin Gaethje, and then Pat will fight earlier after that.
Lastly, boxing is a completely always ever-changing landscape and competitive sphere. Dana has now entered into the market, promising to come into boxing for many a year, but he's now firmly in. And I guess he's a competitor to your promoter now. But how do you think Dana will do in the sport?
I think if you just take lockdown and COVID for an example, how he was able to boost the USA economy, make a fight island and make fights on every weekend. He's a man who knows how to make it work under the most harsh conditions, and I think he'll have positivity and success. Hopefully it drives out some of the crooks in the sport, and hopefully it gives like novice pros like a fair wage and a chance to be able to be built up correctly and not cost them an arm and a leg always.
Well, I wish you all the success on your debut and further out on the Crocker Donovan card, right? Irish fans, obviously, of course, I'm sure you know, love fighting, so it's going to be an electric atmosphere. Wishing you the best. Thanks for